welcome to my channel. It's me, Mish, the Dorky Reader. And today, Howell and I will be picking my February TBR. I have my trusty TBR jar, of which I will pull several prompts. I'm thinking about 8 books, again, with one that I will pick from a group of books that are potential DNFs that I might unhaul, and I'll throw that in, so that'll be the 9th book. Usually I don't read that many books. I just like having a chunk that I can choose from because I'm kind of a mood reader, so if I've got a nice big stack next to my bed, I can grab the one that I'm really interested in. Anyway, let's begin. And I'm gonna have, of course, my kids help me because they love this part, and they're gonna each pull a prompt from the prompt jar. All right, first kid. Here is Emma. She's gonna be the first kid. All right, so her first prompt was a book with chapter names and titles. Oh man, that's hard. So many books these days don't have that. So it's gonna take me a little bit of digging, and I'll see what I can find. All right, well, it took me a little bit of hunting, but I did find quite a few actually with names in the chapters instead of just numbers. This one. Okay, so I've got 3 books here that are really good options for me this month. Last month was a horrible reading month for me. I think possibly the world at large is affecting my mood. So, battling depression with January, and it's just dark energy and I'm trying really hard to get through it. The very first part of the month I was finishing up my December TBR's last book, so I didn't even start my January TBR till January 5th. Then I started one of the ones that I was hoping to DNF or not DNF, I wasn't sure, and I got pretty far into the book before I decided to DNF it, so I don't count DNFs as read books because they're not finished, but I did read probably a book's worth of pages, and then I was like, ugh, in a bad mood. Then I picked up a really chunky book, and the chunky book was great, absolutely, but it took me a lot longer than normal to read it, I think because of my bad mood. And then I finished off the month with a tiny little book, and so I did get some reading in, it just wasn't nearly what I'm used to. So, that being said, I'm hoping February is a more bright, happy kind of energy, quick books, fun books, fast-paced, maybe some YAs, like that's the kind of vibe I'm going for. Of course, some of these books I have here are not, but it's just a heads up to what I'm looking for this month. Okay, so the first book I don't think fits the bill, but it does sound really good. It's called A Man Called Ove by Frederick. I said it right. Frederick Bachman. Normally I say Fred Mick or something. But anyway, this book follows an old kind of curmudgeon-y guy and maybe people's perspective of him. I'm not exactly sure, but it's supposed to incorporate both humor and sadness, and it's supposed to be very touching and meaningful. So I know because I'm sensitive right now, that might be really, like it really will hit more, it'll be more impactful. And so it is on my radar. Okay, so the next book I have is the newest book I've purchased because it just came out on the 29th, and that is The Poet Empress, which is featuring kind of like this Chinese fantasy world where poetry is magic. And there is a young woman who her family's on the brink of starvation, many of her siblings have died, and she's willing to do anything to save her family, including becoming the concubine for this evil ruler of some sort. Women are forbidden from learning how to read, so she secretly teaches herself, I guess, the art of poetry magic, and somehow maybe there's a revenge story. All I know is that Jamie Falk on her channel had read this book because she got an art copy that's like an advanced reader's copy, and she read it and she said she gave it 5 stars, which is a really big deal. She doesn't usually do that. She kind of is a little bit more picky with her 5 stars. So I'm assuming this is going to be an excellent book. The third book I've chosen with chapter titles instead of just numbers and things is The Apothecary Diaries Volume 2. This was on my January TBR and probably would have easily put me out of my reading slump because I remember book 1 being very light, very easy to read, very fun, and then also giving me that chance to watch the anime right after, which was so great. So if you haven't read or watched the Apothecary Diaries, this is, I believe, Mao Mao is her name, and she is a young apothecarian who was in the woods one day and was snatched up and sold into slavery of servitude. She works in the rear palace for the king. She's very unassuming and has kept her head down for the most part the entire time she's been there. However, there was a case of babies being born and dying not long after, and Mao Mao, with her very brilliant mind, pretty quickly assessed what was wrong and solved the case. But she tried to do it in secret. However, her brilliance was caught by a very wild, wacky, and gorgeous eunuch who also works in the rear palace. He noticed her talent, pulls her kind of to the side, and has her then solve other mysteries or criminal cases within the rear palace for him. She is now no longer, going to be there for just 3 years. She might be there for longer. And so we're kind of seeing her adventure. There also may be a potential future romance between her and the eunuch. I am unsure how this will play out, but I do absolutely love the story so far. And Mao Mao is a very interesting, unique character who's a little bit too obsessed with poisons, and it's kind of funny when you watch the anime the way they portray that. But anyway, I'm really looking forward to reading this too. So of these three, I'm leaning mostly towards, I think it's pretty obvious, I think I want to read the Apothecary Diaries. Like I said, I really want that light vibe, YA energy for the month of February. I need that in my life right now. So I'm going to put this back on, and we are going to read it this month. Okay, poll 2, I gotta call a kid. All right, I've chosen Odin to pull the next prompt, and he's going to this side, so I better move my poll. Dun, dun, dun. I'll pull it in this way. Here's your little hand. What's it say? Oh, you don't want to read it today? Okay. Book with a moon on the cover. All right. Okay, so this prompt is insane. I didn't realize how many books had moons on the cover, but if you look real close, and a lot of the little kind of like extra stuff on the side, there are moons. Like there's a moon on What the River Knows right here in the corner. There's a moon on I Who Have Never Known Men over here in this portion of the book. There are moons just everywhere. A Song to Drown Rivers, which is a romantic, Chinese kind of inspired fantasy. Though this one is supposed to have some sad elements in it, but I do really want to get around to reading it. It does sound good. And I believe it's a retelling of a very famous Chinese fairy tale about the most beautiful woman and how she uses her beauty to kind of infiltrate, or there's some kind of like political thing going on too. So this could be really good. And another new book I purchased recently is The Scorpion and the Night Blossom. It doesn't have the best reviews online. However, someone I trust as a reader who I usually get ideas from online, I'm sorry I forgot her name, she recently was doing a video about some romance fantasies that she found to be fun. She didn't put this on the top of her list, but she did say I had a lot of fun with it. And I think that if you're in for just, you don't mind some tropes just being kind of thrown around, you just want a good time, that this is actually still a really good book. And it might have a little bit of a surprise, or it might go away that you're not expecting. So that did intrigue me. Also, this is probably the prettiest cover I have right now. If you look inside, I mean, look at these papers. There's shiny silver embossed, like, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? I feel like that one's calling to me. And the last one I have is Holly Black's Book of Nights. Now, I really love Holly Black's Cruel Prince trilogy. I think most of us do that have read it. Maybe not everyone, but a lot of people do, and I'm one of them. But I've also read another book by her and not been as enamored, and this is, I guess a lot of people have said that about this book series. It's like her least popular. But the description of it did sound interesting. So based on the description, I'd really want to try it out. Maybe I should make that choice for myself instead of letting other people choose. So I think of these books, oh yeah, and I get through, there's even more, but of the ones that I showed you, the 3 that I'm most interested in are the Scorpion and the Night Blossom, Holly Black's Book of Night, and I Who Have Never Known Men. Obviously this one is the shortest, which would help me, but I feel like the subject matter is really serious. And even though right now is the time to be serious, I think that I want to go for something to take me away. So I'm going to pick between these 2 at this point. And I am going to choose... I think I'm going to try the Scorpion and the Night Blossom. It's one of my newer books, so it's fresh in my mind as being exciting. I had obviously gravitated towards it. I wanted to own it and buy it and read it. So because it's such a new, beautiful copy of this book that I bought used, I am going to put it on my list. All right, now I get to call my 3rd kid for my 3rd prompt. Boy, this video is taking a long time today. Okay, Heidi is here to choose the 3rd prompt for me. She always throws it at me. She's smiling when she does it. A book by a favorite author. All right, I think we all know what I'm gonna do. All right, so I came back, and instead of just picking one, I have 3 different authors here who are of my favorites. I have Joe Abercrombie's Best Served Cold, obviously. He is one of my favorite fantasy writers of all time. I absolutely adored the First Law trilogy, and I recommend it to everyone. It is so good. Bound to Fail by A.K. Caggiano is the next book on my kind of radar here. She's my favorite author for romantic fantasy. At least she has my favorite series, romantasy ever written, which was the Thrown in the Dark series, which I absolutely loved. And this, I believe, probably takes place in the same world, but different characters. And this girl is Celeste. She is from kind of an evil magic family of some sort. She's bound to make right of herself. She wants to just kind of move on, live in a little village, be good, but darkness follows her wherever she goes, and she's kind of clumsy and awkward, but she really wants to make things right. And of course you have Sir Reeve, who is a holy knight of Valcord, and he wants to vanquish evil in all the land, and it looks like the 2 are going to have a really cute romance. So if I'm looking for a little romance, that would be a really good option. The 3rd book I have is one that was on my January TBR that I didn't get to. Shame on me. But I have I Shall Wear Midnight by Terry Pratchett. And of course, I really want to read this eventually this year. It is my goal. I've been very nervous about finishing the series, but I know I'll have a really good time reading this because all the Tiffany Aching books, though they are they have little pings of poignant moments, they're hilarious, as his writing style is so quirky, and there's a lot of fun, sarcastic, goofy things tossed in, and I don't know, I just really like his books. So of the 3, the one I should read is this. The one that I probably would have the most fun reading this month because I need something light is this. But I think I'm gonna pick I Shall Wear Midnight again. Sorry for choosing the same book, two of the same books on the first 3 prompts from last month. But these are the 2 books I think that I was most sad I didn't get to read. And so putting them back on my TBR kind of gives me that extra incentive to actually push through and read them. Okay, so next prompt, I'm gonna do this one. Dun, 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 dun. And it's orange. It says, a book with an animal on the cover. Oh, I love these kind of prompts with things on the cover. It always makes me really happy. So I'll be right back. Alright, so I'm back, and again, I have a huge stack of books. In fact, I'm starting to become surrounded because I'm not putting them back after, which is making a big mess. But anyway, there are a ton of books here with animals on the cover. The one I have here is Modern Divination by Isa Agajanian. I believe this is a dark academia magical type book, if I am correct. Let me see here. Yes, it involves witches and witchcraft, which is always really fun. It's gorgeous. I absolutely love this book cover. I also have The God and the Gumio, which is supposedly very lighthearted and campy, and you're supposed to take with a grain of salt. Don't take it too seriously. Kind of let it run like some comical, weird, goofy TV show would, you know, like, and that will help you, I guess, picture it better. If you take it too seriously, you might not enjoy it as much, as from what I've heard. There is a fox, and it looks like a snake up on this guy's staff. Is that his little wand? What is he holding? But anyway, another book I have is Before the Coffee Gets Cold. I've heard so many great things about this book, but I've also heard that it's really sad. However, it's really short looking, and that would be really nice to just pluck through. And then I can decide for myself if I want to get further editions of this series, because I know it has quite a few that are like this. Supposedly, let me see, what's the story? It's a magical seat in a cafe where you can, if you wish, go back in time. I guess you get like an opportunity to change something in your past. I'm not exactly sure. Another book I have is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I've really been wanting to read another Leigh Bardugo book series because I've done the Grisha stuff, and this is, well, I've done most of it. I haven't done King of Scars yet by her. However, I really wanted to read this one because I feel like this one will be intense, but her writing style is usually so like, it's like easy to go through, like you just swallow it up. So this is an option. It's a little bit dark from what I understand, and it might involve like a secret society or some kind of evil magic. I'm not exactly sure. And that's why there's a snake on the cover, I'm sure. Then I have Among the Beast and Briars by Ashley Poston. She's a pretty good writer from what I understand. I've read one of her books. I really enjoyed it. It was really fun. It was called Heart of Iron. Heidi's actually read this book and she enjoyed it, and she wanted to have a copy of it, so I bought one, and then I was like, well, I should get around to reading it too. And I also have these two. I have Catabasis or Catabasis. I'm really bad at pronunciation. It's R.F. Kuang's most recent book, and I believe it involves two people on a journey to hell to save or talk to their professor. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but there appears to be a kitty cat on the cover and the bottom of the stairs. Her writing is usually, I feel like, pretty, I guess from what I've read, I've only read Poppy War. I didn't read the sequels to that. Maybe I should not read this until I've finished the Poppy War. That probably would be wise. And, oh, I also have, God, there's so many here. I have the Raven Scholar, which I've been through before, and it's huge. That's its only drawback. Okay, so there are so many books here to choose from. The ones I'm most drawn to this month in particular are Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikatsu Kawaguchi, and then also Leigh Bardugo's Ninth House. So, yikes. I don't know what to pick. This one's going to be so much easier to read, I'm sure. But this one sounds interesting, and I do have both books. I bought it kind of like two books instead of just one. So I'm really anxious to get around to it to see if I'll actually like it so I can keep it or unhaul it. But I don't think I'll unhaul it. So it would just be starting a new series, wouldn't it? But this is also a new series, technically. Oh, gosh. I think I'm going to go, though, with The Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I think maybe there's a darkness within me that needs to read this dark, mysterious, secret society, magical, whatever. I also really enjoy her writing, so hopefully this one carries through. All right, I'm gonna make some stacks here and I'll get back to you with Emma, I believe. Here comes Emma. Don't sing too long. There we go. Okay, thank you. Oh, he's gonna like that. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, so the prompt Emma picked was Odin's choice on the cart. I don't know if it'll show with my face there. But anyway, if it doesn't show up, he's here. I've got 2 giant carts next to me, and he's gonna take his time, and I think he's gonna pick a book for me, and I'll tell you what it is when he's done. All right, he has chosen. Odin, will you tell me which book you've chosen?
A Song to Drown Rivers by Anne Ling.
Thank you. Actually, this is pretty awesome. It's supposedly a really good book, and Jamie Falk is always pushing this one on people, so now I have no excuse. My own son chose it for me to read, so it has to be read. All right, that was prompt number 5. We're coming along pretty smoothly. All right, hey Odin, you want to come back real quick and pull a prompt from the prompt jar?
Game.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Here's Odin's choice.
Random letter generator picks title of book.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Odin. Okay, I'm gonna pull up my random letter generator. I think I have a wheel for that. Let me see here. Wheel of names. Let me pull it up. Okay, I have my random letter generator here, and I have the alphabet on this thing. I think what I'm gonna do is, no, I'll just keep it like this. I'm gonna shuffle it a couple times, and then I'm gonna spin. And we'll see what letter I get for title. I hope it's not like X, because I don't have an X. We'll see what letter it chooses. Letter T. All right, I will look for books starting with T. Okay, so I have 4 books here that start with T that I could find off the bat, and one of them is The Thief by Megan Whalen Turner. I've heard nothing but good things about this, and the perk of this book is also, look at it. It's so short and consumable. It's definitely a YA, which sounds fantastic. But here's the description on the back. I can steal anything. When Gen's boasting lands him in the king's prison, his chances of escape look slim. So when the king's magus, boy, I hate when I can't pronounce something. Anyway, invites him on a seemingly impossible quest to steal a legendary object and win back his freedom. Gen is in no position to refuse. The magus has plans for his king and his country, but Gen has plans of his own. Endlessly entertaining by Garth Nix, author of Sabriel, Laini Taylor. Also enjoyed it. Priceless, Lee Bardugo. Good recommendations by great authors on the back, so there's that. And again, it's very accessible. The other option I have is This Woven Kingdom by Tahera Mafi, and I believe this book is, I don't know much about the actual story, to be honest, but I do know that her other book series, the Shatter Me one, which might not be written with the highest quality, featured a really good, genuine enemies to lovers romance. Like, you weren't expecting it to be the actual villain, but it was, and it was so satisfying. So if she can deliver something like that kind of vibe, but in a more adult fashion, because I believe this book is like a step up, is what everyone is saying from that series, then this has the potential to be a really great romantasy for me. Another option I have is 3 Bags Full. If you remember last year, maybe earlier on, I don't remember when, I had gotten this book, and it sounds hilarious. It's about 3 sheep who are solving a crime of some sort. It does sound really funny. Also on the bottom, if you flip through, there's these cute little sheep. Let me get out of the view. And they move, or they do, something happens like on the bottom. It's like a little picture thing when you flip, and I think that's adorable. The other option I have is Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. This is one of his standalones that he did that were kind of like He had 3 books he was pushing out that were very different, I guess, at the same time. And this one got really good reviews from a lot of people, but I don't know if I'm in the mood for it right now, honestly. So I'm going to put that one to the side. And I'm going to choose between... I think I'm going to choose between these 2. This one looks really easy, and I've heard really great things about it. But I think this Woven Kingdom is what's calling me this month. So here I am starting a new series when I haven't even finished the ones I'm reading. Way to go, Mish. Way to go. Okay, that means I have 2 more polls plus a DNF potential that I need to get to. So let's have Heidi pull the next prompt. Incoming Heidi. Pew. There she is. Whoa! She flung it. Okay. Oh, a book with sprayed edges. These are always so fun because who doesn't love having a beautiful book on their TBR stack? All right, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. And I have some good options here. Gosh, there's so many like on my card at this point because I just apparently I'm drawn to that. I'm one of those suckers. Hi, Howl. How's your tail? Let's move you over here. Go over there. Go over there. Good boy. Okay, so I have with me We Are Legion, We Are Bob. This might not have the most beautiful sprayed edges, but it definitely has. I'm trying to like get my face so it's not in there so you can actually see these sprayed edges because the way my camera works is if it sees my eyeballs, it doesn't want to focus on anything else. But anyway, this looks hilarious and it features a man who put himself in cryogenic frozen state to hopefully wake up to a better future, a distant utopia, and ends up waking up to a war-torn universe or something where they send his head, his disembodied head, and they attach it to some AI, or I don't even know what's going on. Some crazy stuff happens, and he's searching for some kind of planet to live in while people are trying to stop him or something. I'm not exactly sure. But anyway, it just sounds like it's going to be a good wild time, and I love sci-fi. So that's an option. Another option I have is the Jasad Air, and this one is really pushing me. Like, I really want to read this. It sounds like just one of those big, epic, romantic fantasies that has like a really good actual story attached. Which sometimes you read a romantasy and it's all about the romance, and it can be kind of like, okay, enough. But then you have books that have like an actual plot or evolution, some kind of political intrigue, something going on, plus a beautiful epic romance. And this is that kind of book. So that's on the list. I have, of course, The Raven Scholar, and it has just gorgeous edges here. I love the purples, I love the ravens. But I will say this is probably too big for me this month because I'm trying to get out of a reading slump. And of course I have Red City by Mary Lou, who I've only ever read her dystopian legend book, and it was really good. And I know it's a series and I didn't finish the series, so I feel bad starting a new book by her when I haven't even finished her original series. But this is a completely different world and a different story, so is it that bad? Anyway, let me see if I can read the first line of each and see which one pulls me in the most. Oh my gosh, there's Alchemy Syndicates. Look at the front of this. I love this kind of stuff. Oh my god, okay. As a child, Sam can see beauty in everything. It's kind of a boring first line, to be honest, but I don't know. Okay, the Raven Scholar I'm not going to do. I'm going to put that to the side. I'm just picking between these guys. The Jasad Air. 2 things stood between me and a good night's sleep, and I was allowed to kill only one of them. That's a good line. That's a good first line. Okay, We Are Legion, We Are Bob. What do you got going for you for your very first opening sentence? So, you'll cut off my head? Okay. Oh my god. Both of these have great one-liners, like for a first thing. I know this is going to be more funny. I'm going to choose We Are Legion, We Are Bob this month. I think, like I said, February needs some lightheartedness. I wish I'd remembered earlier during the animal prompt to grab my Dungeon Crawler Carl book 5, because that's where I'm at in the series, and I didn't. so it's not on the list. Maybe it'll be included in whatever prompt comes next. If not, oh well. We'll just save it for next month. I'm not like that. It's a really big one, and so maybe I don't want to read it right now anyway. Okay, I guess that means I picked the 8th prompt, and I don't need to pause. So here we go. Good luck. There's I think there's 2 or 3 books that didn't make it on my list that I was hoping would. So I'm hoping that this will help me figure out one of them. I don't know what this says. A book with plants on the cover. Ooh, I don't think this will work for those, but we'll find a book with plants on the cover and we'll make it work. Alright, so I have with me 3 books that have plants on the cover. All the books I was super excited to read this month do not have plants on the cover, so I couldn't read those. However, I do have several here that are decent options. One is What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez, and it says here it's like a plucky heroine, a historically grounded Indiana Jones-esque adventure through ancient Egypt, and a surprising dollop of magic. And I really like that kind of tagline. I think that sounds really exciting, really fun, and there's potential for it to be something that I'm in the mood for. The other book I have is The Thief by Megan Whalen Turner. This book is a YA, and it features a thief who was put into prison possibly for boasting or bragging about something he'd stolen. He is then taken by the King's Mages to steal something important to earn his freedom. I guess that's based on the tiny little blurb I read on the back. It's in YA and a very short book, so this would be really easy to breeze through in the month of February. Okay, the next book on my list is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, and this I believe is on my 26 for 26 list. It's set up kind of like journal entries because she is some kind of researcher or she's studying fairies or the existence thereof. And I believe there's a little bit of an element of grumpy sunshine romance, which is some of my favorite kind of trope. Or it is one of my favorite tropes. Boy, I have a really hard time talking today. Anyway, that's option 3. And the last option is, I don't know if these even count, but this, again, Star of the Morning. I had this on my list once before, and it's written by a very famous romance author who usually kind of specializes in Scottish Highland type romance novels. However, this is from her fantasy series, A Novel of the 9 Kingdoms. And I had started this series a little too late. I went into book 10 first, and it was really excellent. And then I said to myself, instead of finishing their story arc, I want to start from the very beginning, because I noticed while reading book 10, there were lots of references to past books that I might have had a better time understanding if I had started from the beginning. So, Star of the Morning by Lynn Kurland is another option. The plants are obviously just in the background. There's some bushes and trees and stuff. Anyway, of these books, which one am I most excited for? Honestly, they're all about the same for me. They're not terrible options. They're all yeah, I could probably pick that up and read it. But maybe 1 or 2, I've got to find a way to narrow it down. Okay, so of those 4 books, I'm going to narrow it down and cut out this one. Not for any reason, just because it's the start of this giant series that I don't think I want to put myself in right this moment, not until I've cleared up a few more of the ones I'm in. Then I have The Thief as an option. However, it doesn't sound like it's going to have romance, or maybe it does, but I haven't heard of it yet. I'll look into it for next time, but I think I want something with a little romance. So I'm going to choose between these 2. This one's going to have a plucky heroine, and this one might have, I guess it's because it was Grumpy Sunshine, maybe someone's sunshiny, but she's like a researcher. Maybe she'll be awkward. Both are kind of, if you think about it, if she's in an Indiana Jones-esque adventure, she's probably also a scientist. So they're both kind of scientist-y women, which is kind of cool. I think this time around, I'm going to go with, to fit the prompt more, this does have plants. However, this one really screams plant life, kind of like cozy, I don't know, that's just the feeling I'm getting from it. So I'm going to choose Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. Since last month, I had chosen 2 books to kind of go through my unhaul DNF potential whatever, instead of doing one this month, because it was kind of a drag having 2 crappy books on my TBR. Like, not gonna lie. I am going to instead choose one for myself again in hopes that I get one of the books I really want on my list. So maybe that's cheating, maybe it's not. It's my TBR though, so. And I already, like I said, I did 2. I did that twice last month, and that was a lot for me mentally. So, oh, sorry, let me pull it up so it doesn't look crazy. What's this say? This says, published over 5 years ago. Maybe I have to look up some of these books and see if they're on there. I'll show you what they are. Okay, one of them is, I think this is book 4, Exit Strategy by Martha Wells. I've been reading through the Murderbot Diaries, and I really want to continue on my little Murderbot journey. Also, they're super short, easy books, which is really nice to have when you're struggling to get through a book. October 2nd, 2018. Yes, it is over 5 years ago. Yes! Excellent. This is an option. I'm going to show the other ones too, though. Mickey 7. And I need to find the publishing date. Publishing date. This one is not 5 years ago. It was published in 2022. Okay, so the other one I don't have it here in front of me, but it's book 5 in Dungeon Crawler Carl. I know it's huge though, but let me see. Dungeon Crawler Carl, book 5, publishing date. Go. Also 2022, The Butcher's Masquerade. So that means though, I'm not like too sad. I still get to read Exit Strategy by Martha Wells, book 4 in the Murderbot Diaries. All right, let me go through my list of giant book stacking here. Oh my gosh, this is a mess. I cannot tell you how bad my table looks right now. Okay, so here is my stack for February. As you can see, it's not too overpowering, but it is a nice, good stack of books to choose from. And I have a book published over 5 years ago, Exit Strategy by Martha Wells. Ding. I have a book with plants on the cover, Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. I have a book with sprayed edges, and I chose We Are Legion, We Are Bob by Dennis E. Taylor. I have Random Letter Generator chooses the title of the book, and the letter was T, This Woven Kingdom by Tahera Mafi. I have Odin chooses a book from my cart, and he chose A Song to Drown Rivers by Anne Leung. Then I have a book with an animal on the cover, Ninth House by Lee Bardugo. Then I have a book with, was this the book with a moon on the cover, or was this the other one? This is the moon on the cover. What was the prompt for this one? Oh, a book by a favorite author, of course. I Shall Wear Midnight by Terry Pratchett. Wish me luck, guys. I do really want to get around to reading. Why won't it show it? Stop being blurry. I'm not there. A book with a moon on the cover, The Scorpion and the Night Blossom by Amelie Wen Xiao. I hope I said that right. Probably not. And then I have a book with chapter names and titles instead of just numbers, and that is The Apothecary Diaries Book 2. All right, wish me luck this month. I hope I get through a lot more books this month than I did the month before. And I'll see you again on my next video where I probably go over the few books I did read in January.